know what's going on? Maybe it's another drill.
Commence binary ignition.
Four Midwest Guys presents Star Wars Breaking News.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
I have waited a long time for this moment.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
This will be a day long remembered.
There's a great disturbance in the Force.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Punch it!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Star Wars Breaking News. I'm your host, B. Willie, and today we'll be reviewing Star Wars The Last Jedi teaser trailer, as well as Star Wars The Last Jedi teaser poster. Here to help me do that today is Mr. Brian Eichenbauer.
Hey, what's up,
What's going on, B? And my brother, Aaron.
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. All right, guys. So let's start with the Last Jedi teaser poster. It's different from a lot of other any Star Wars poster I've seen. Anyway, it's really cool. It's got like a red background. You've got half of Luke Skywalker's face, half of Kylo Ren's face, and down at the bottom is Rey holding her blue lightsaber with just kind of a giant glow effect, and then reaching up between Luke and Kylo Ren's face, and it's red background. So what do you guys, and then a white background in the back.
I mean, in terms of like the color schemes, like it's a bit different, but in terms of this, how like the figures are all set up, it is kind of a nod back to some of the older posters.
I was going to say it looks very retro.
Yeah, like it clearly is intentionally retro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even in terms of the pose, it's not that far off from like the like original poster, is it? Like for Episode 4?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it looks very, very similar to that one. The framework on it is very retro as well. Like posters we see nowadays is all edge to edge, and this one is framed out.
Yeah, like it's almost having like a widescreen edition,
Yes.
like within the thing.
Yeah, like I can really see this being the front of a VHS tape.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where you guys are saying with that. The holding of the lightsaber is similar to Luke holding it in The New Hope, except Luke's holding it with two hands. She's just kind of holding it up with one.
Yeah, like you can barely see it's there almost.
Yeah, I mean, and then
it's almost just shining. Like it's the sole light and blue bit out of the entire red schematic.
It's very similar to the Jedi symbol itself, which is, appropriate.
Now, there is something that I noticed on this one. I don't know if you guys noticed or not.
No, what's up?
So you see Rey at the bottom, and you see Kylo on the one side. And when you look at Luke, look how angry Luke is.
Mm.
And that only reason why I say that is I was reading something online where he was asked, does Luke turn evil?
Mm.
I mean, if you look at that, to me,
You think that's what it's kind of setting up?
that's what it looks like it's setting up.
That Luke's going to go to the dark side?
Yeah. I mean, don't you think so? I mean, look at it. Look at that face on...
It definitely does look angry. It actually even looks angrier than Kylo's.
That's what I'm
face.
saying.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's hinting that so much as just like it's taking like stills from like a battle scene sort of thing.
Right.
Like it is Ren that is in between those two on like the battle sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. It's possible. Considering that he's kind of broken. At least that's... especially after watching the teaser trailer, he seems like he's... because he drops one truth is the Jedi have to end.
Mm.
It's possible. It's a hell of a risk. I could see it. It would be an interesting turn.
Would have Luke turn evil like this late in the game.
This late in the game, because he would be... The problem is Luke is, up to this point, has been the... It would be hard to explain from a viewpoint because Luke is the one who, at the end of Jedi, finds the, a true Jedi way, a real light side way to bring Anakin back. So I don't know,
but it could be a character just kind of he fulfilled that bit of himself at that time, and then moved on, sort of thing.
Possibly. I will say one thing in this. At first, the first time I saw this poster, I had to take kind of a harder look at Kylo because, and it's probably because of the hair, but I actually thought for a second that might have been Hayden Christensen kind of look to it because he's got the Jedi mullet thing kicking. But
yeah, I hadn't actually noticed that, but there is a sort of similarity in the facial structures, isn't there?
Yeah,
like especially in like how that looks there.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. It's an interesting.
And I think it's also interesting that how big Luke's face is compared to Kylo's.
Oh yeah, this is going to be. There's no doubt about it, this is a Luke Skywalker centric movie. Just like.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is going to be because.
And you think you see him playing a bigger role in this than like Yoda did in
Episode
5?
Yeah, he's going with. Unlike Yoda, who stayed behind, he's going to go with her. There's no doubt about that. This
so
movie.
You almost have him taking on kind of an Obi-Wan and Yoda role here. You think?
Oh yeah, he's going to be with
A Yoda one.
Yoda one. Yeah, he's going to be. Yeah, this is going to be all about Skywalker. The fact that we got nothing of Skywalker in Force Awakens, this is going to make up for it.
Really? Like you think like they had that set up just so they could have all these scenes just dedicated to having like a Skywalker friend training thing?
I think one of the big questions for this movie is who is Luke Skywalker. I think it's going to be one of the
He's the Last Jedi.
Well, other than the Last Jedi, like who is he? Who is he now?
Which, by the way, in one of the panels, the I guess it's the director.
Yeah.
I guess it's the director said, the Last Jedi for him has always been singular.
Mm-hmm.
Like until they announced it, he didn't think of it any other way as
Jedi.
So
Jedi.
The Last Jedi for him, the title
Yeah.
is singular, not plural. Like everybody's like the Last Jedi, meaning the last of the Jedi. It's the Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. The other thing that's interesting about that whole thing is, and I've when they put it out in other languages, the Last Jedi, there, in certain languages, Jedi they have plural and they have non-plural forms, and they're using the plural. Now, whether that's just how they interpret it, or if that's being done intentionally.
Is that universal for those languages, or like
right?
a couple examples?
I don't know.
Here and
This is all what I'm reading is rumor. That's rumor, but just to throw it out there.
Fair enough.
So, all right. Well, I think we've examined this poster pretty well because there's not much to it because it's a teaser trailer poster, but still,
yeah,
good analysis. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do next is the teaser trailer itself. We're just going to we're going to look at each scene's image and we'll talk about it and see what we think about it. And so the trailer starts off with, it looks like stars and it kind of fades to a rock.
So you almost kind of think it's like an asteroid or something.
Yeah, you're not sure at first. At first it looks like a star field. And then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. Next thing it looks maybe kind of like an asteroid, like you said. And then next thing you see is Rey's hand hitting it and her gasping for air.
Yeah.
Now
and you start hearing the Luke's voice, just breathe, breathe.
That's next. Okay. But it's just her breathing. So let's just talk about this scene about her gasping for air. One thing I noticed in the background is it looks like there is a cave entrance of some kind, or at least a doorway into the stone behind her. So I'm thinking what's going on here possibly is she's come out of the cave, much like Luke did on Dagobah. Kind of had like a vision or
like a little tree thing.
Yeah, remember like Luke on Dagobah saw Vader and cut off his head and saw his own face, kind of thing.
You think it's going to be a similar vision here?
Possibly, or something that is frightened her or shooken her to the core.
The way I took it was, she was in
trance.
Like a trance state, like where she's trying to channel the Force and everything else, and
Force vision,
and she loses focus and then falls.
Oh, okay.
That was the way I took it.
That's how you took it.
She's trying to lift something up, because later on you also see a clip where you have like the smaller rocks lifting up, so it could be part of the same scene where it is
she's trying.
Yeah,
that's possible too.
Or it's part of that scene of working through it and getting to that point, or this actually might go afterwards, where after she's lifting up some smaller rocks, trying to lift up something larger, then she drops down into the panting.
Sounds because she's exerted herself.
Yeah.
All right, so the next scene is the kind of one of the more like the stunning visual of the movie. That's just like an overhead view of the island itself.
Well, yeah, it's a very pretty place.
But
it's a very pretty location to shoot.
This is where you first hear Luke's voice for the first time, and him just say "breathe" as they're coming across the ocean, and they come over top of the island. He says, "What do you see? Breathe." This is all about that whole thing. This scene, as well as the next scene, which the next scene is, I'm not quite sure what to make of this one. With her kind of standing above like an opening in the island looking down on the ocean itself. I'm not sure if something has happened, if something has crashed into the water, because the water looks disturbed, or if it's just regular waves.
It looks like regular waves to me.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think?
It could go either way. I mean, a lot of what we're seeing here really is small shot after small shot.
Yeah, it's just interesting how she's standing at the edge, though, and just kind of staring out.
Yeah.
At the space.
Well, at the same time, it's a really well framed shot, though, and I mean, you do have like the color palette to it that is really nice as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we, if not talking about the storyline, but just how it's going to be shot, how you see everything kind of framed up is really well done so far.
Yeah. It's kind of a darker scene, though, so I wonder if it's a kind of a darker moment for her. I don't know.
Could go either way. I mean, it could just be kind of reaching out and towards like the sunrise sort of thing.
I'd say it could be nighttime.
Yeah, that's possible, or at least twilight anyway, right? So the next scene is her lifting the pebbles and the sand.
The Superman, Man of Steel, getting ready to leave.
Yeah, kind of. But
oh yeah, I did do that in Man of Steel, didn't I?
Yeah, like right when he was ready to make his first leap, and he like almost pushed the ground down, and the smaller stones got up. And
I actually think it kind of works a little better here, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think Aaron, you had made the point. We were talking about this particular scene, and it's neat to see the actual smaller stuff like before in the past, like in Empire. Obviously, because of limitations to special effects, we could only see the bigger rocks being moved. Well, I mean, now we're down to the
even if you go back to like the prequels, you don't really see a whole lot of like minute detail in terms of like force use. Like, you really only see it, in like larger things here and there. So it is an interesting sort of aesthetic change.
Well, yeah, this to me, this connects to what we were just talking about on our Rebels podcast when the Bendu turns into the Force Storm, and he's able to control other things other than just, than just one object at a time, which is what we've seen in everything else.
Yeah.
This, she's almost like she can control multiple things around, like the area around her.
Well, it's also interesting because it depends on how they develop Force powers going forward, because realistically, you could almost show it like you see like psychic phenomena used like in other things, like in like telepathic films, like in horror films or anything like that. So I mean, you could see it kind of change, like especially how we shoot, like the Force powers and their abilities and things like that.
Yeah, it definitely get a lot more detail.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this is where after Luke asks her what she sees, she says the light, and they show a picture of Princess Leia, what we assume is Princess Leia anyway, from behind, kind of looking at a star map.
And you can vaguely hear hope. She says hope.
Yeah.
Like it's Leia saying, it's part of that, you're our only hope. But you can hear her barely say hope when she says light.
That's good. I was trying to figure that out, because in the next scene you can definitely tell who it is. But
yeah.
But I like the scene. It's cool. It's definitely Star Wars. It has that round table with the holograph. Obviously, it's aboard some sort of starship of some kind.
Either that or some sort of base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell from this spot alone.
I was trying to figure out who was walking too, because you not only do you see Leia and whoever the guy is across from her.
Yeah.
There's also two people that walk by. One walks close, and one walks across the background.
Yeah.
And I tried to freeze frame it on my phone, and I couldn't. There's no way to really tell who it is.
Yeah.
But to me, in this picture right here, the one, what we have on the screen here, it almost looks like Lando.
A little bit.
Standing on the opposite side.
It's possible. Could also be the if you remember from the Force Awakens, they had the he was like Asian, I think, when the last time they were showing Starkiller Base.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there was like that shorter Asian general. That could be him too. But yeah,
I don't know. With any of these sort of base scenes, you always have like this kind of smaller background characters. So I'm not sure even if we could identify them whether we'd give too much away.
But yeah, they're probably discussing I would think an invasion by the first order of some kind on the galaxy.
It looks like they're playing Pokemon at Poke Stadium.
Maybe. I mean, you got to have some downtime, right?
Right.
All right. So, and then she also says, "I see the dark," and what do we get? Is a close up of a shattered Kylo Ren helmet, or what looks to be like Kylo Ren's old helmet, now shattered into a billion pieces.
Yeah. So Kylo Ren most likely had a temper tantrum and broke it. Yeah.
Is it Kylo Ren's mask, or is it Vader's mask?
It looks like it's Kylo Ren. If you look at like the
some of the lining,
the gold, the golder pieces and the lines, that looks like Kylo's old mask to me because he had those gold lines across the top.
Yeah, the only reason why I asked that is because he had Vader's mask in like a glass and like ash type, like, and that's what looks like to me is across the bottom, around on the ground, is the glass and ash from that, like it was like it got knocked over.
Yeah, either that or it could be debris from
one of his temper tantrums.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, if I don't see anything that looks like Vader's even the charred mask that we saw, so in there anywhere. So
you think it is Kylo's?
I'm pretty sure it's Kylo's. Again, whether it's a temper tantrum or whether it's intentionally done by somebody else, I don't know. And then she says she sees balance. Now, this was cool when she says that because they go in on like a tree,
like has books,
tree bookshelf, like in the middle of a tree root, essentially, and there's a bunch of books, and then they zoom in on this one book that looks like the Jedi symbol,
the Old Republic logo.
Well, the Jedi Knight symbol.
Yeah,
the Jedi themselves have. It's similar. It's a little bit different though. And what's interesting about this to me, after we looked at the poster, is it's the exact same image we see in the poster when she's holding up the lightsaber in the teaser poster, and with the bright thing. It's that exact same symbol now.
Now, when I looked at it, the scene before this, when it's hard to tell at first what it is, but then you can tell it's books.
Yeah,
it almost looks like it's in a cave.
Yep,
which could be inside the island that they're on.
Yeah,
which could be a Jedi temple.
Right, the first Jedi temple.
Right, and it could be books. Now, when we look at this picture of either the cover or a page in one of those books,
right?
If you notice the hand that comes across,
it's wearing a glove.
It's a glove, which is what Luke was wearing.
Right.
So it could be that Luke is telling a story of,
Right.
Well, clearly later on, it does kind of cut back to like his memory of his attempt to rebuilding the Jedi Order failing and getting cut down. So it could be an aspect of that.
Yeah, it's obviously some sort of ancient Jedi tome book. Who knows? Some sort of. Who knows? I like this next scene because this shows her training on the island with her lightsaber and Luke kind of looking on at her from afar, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of down on.
If that's Luke.
If that's Luke. I'm pretty sure it is, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird if there's a switch up and all of a sudden it's Kylo Ren overseeing her trading sort of thing.
And
it seems unlikely.
And she's not just doing a few moves. I mean, she's going at it.
It's like a full kata sort of thing.
Yeah, she's going, heavy training.
Yeah, presumably she has more than the weekend course.
Yeah. And again, I love the aesthetics of the island with the background of the ocean and literally being in the middle of nowhere, you know, in just this island.
Oh yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. All right, so this scene was this was the what the hell is this? scene in the trailer for me. I was like, okay, this is completely new.
It's kind of cool though. Visually, it's very striking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's cool. It's like that. What the hell is it? Cool moment. Because you're trying to figure it out. So, some sort of speeder that has a fin that touches the ground of the desert of this planet, and it turns into red sand underneath of it.
Well, is it that it's like kicking up the sand from the ground itself, or is it more like a crop duster sort of thing?
I'm thinking it's kicking up the sand itself, and the sand is just a different color.
Yeah, there's a weird contrast between the sand that's actually just hardened on the top and like what's actually kicked up,
or what's being kicked up from underneath, right? And it.
So what I looked at it as is, because you can tell that these look like they're getting ready to go into battle with the walkers that are coming towards it. Like from
the distance.
What people are calling Hoth 2.0. But what it looked like to me is these speeders or whatever are letting out this smoke screen. And so they're all going to go towards these towards the walkers and have this red smoke screen that goes up. So the walkers can't see what's going on.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I mean, that's what it looked like to me, because to me it doesn't look like they actually touched the ground, because when the one did touch the ground, it doesn't turn bright red.
It's possible. This would also lend some credence to a report a couple months ago where they said they would be on a new planet in The Last Jedi and that it would have red sand. So this might be what they were talking about.
Okay.
Here. Okay, so next scene, we finally get to see Finn, but Finn still in a coma. I'm hoping this is early on in the movie.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't.
You don't want it to be like the end of the movie and it's just like, how's Finn doing? Still in a coma.
Still in a coma.
Yeah, but it did say stable condition. The red lettering on the left-hand side.
Somebody translated
it.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is just somebody mashing the keyboard.
Yeah.
People online have taken it and turned it around and everything else. Yeah. But part of it does say stable condition. Stable, yeah.
So yeah, he's in some sort of medical stasis still.
Well, I mean, I think towards 7 you see him like kind of in the medical bay area anyway. So
yeah, except it's not enclosed. It's kind of just like he's on a bed, kind of thing. But then, of course, as soon as we see Finn, the next is they turn to John Boyega's character here. Poe, yeah.
BB-8.
Poe and BB-8.
And he appears to be on a starship of some kind, and it's under attack, because you can see the
they're all running,
phosphorus. Yeah, they're all running around.
A second later, you see like the ship blowing up on the bay.
Yeah. He loses yet another. The next scene is the X-wing being blown up inside what appears to be a cargo bay of a starship. So
it almost, it's funny. We were talking about it on our Rebels podcast. It almost looks like the carrier that we were so upset
that they destroyed.
That we were so upset they destroyed. But this one looks like it's like, oh, it's back. Oh no, now it's being destroyed again.
Yeah. They really like just blowing up the same ships over and over.
Yeah, we have a hard time keeping X-wings. You know that? That's just the next. This is the second X-wing he's lost.
Yeah. But presumably outside the films, he has a lot of them he keeps.
Yeah. Looks like there's some kind of other ship off to the side you can't really see either.
Right.
Yeah.
Or spare engines.
Spare engines possibly, and there's maybe another one on the other side.
Yeah, some sort of cargo situation.
Yeah, so it'd be cool to see. All right, so next scene in the trailer is just the Millennium Falcon shooting down some X-Wings, or not X-Wings, TIE fighters.
And he's also being chased.
And they're being chased. And it looks like to me, because of the sky, and looks like ocean blue, I would say this might be happening on the
first Jedi
Temple. First Jedi Temple, which I believe is called Act 2, believe it or not. So yeah, I think that might be where this battle's taking place.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. This scene was because as soon as it comes to it, you see a giant explosion right in front of the camera.
Yeah,
and when you pause it, it's actually a TIE fighter right in front of the camera.
Yeah,
and it blows up, and then you see the Millennium Falcon swoop in, like what we see right here, and you see two more TIE fighters behind it, chasing it. So you can tell it's an air fight.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Well, not just that, but like visually, it's pretty stunning because you have like the explosions and like kind of the shots from the lasers themselves, and then you just have like kind of a nice peaceful day in the background. Like it's a nice contrast,
right?
I do like these these battles taking place in the air, though, and not always having to take place in space like they have in the past.
Yeah.
Like with that scene in The Force Awakens with the TIE fighters was awesome. You know, with her flying the Falcon through all the space, all the junk of the Star Destroyers and stuff. That was just amazing.
Like, it's not a thing where they just immediately jump to space,
right?
Like from the atmosphere.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. So, next scene is Rey running with her blue lightsaber. I know there's been rumors of I think you were talking about, Brian, about a big, a large, or was it you? Or it might have been something I was watching where there's a rumor of a big battle with Rey and Luke and involved together, fighting together. Some people seem to think this might be a scene from those two fighting together.
So when I saw this scene and you see her running, it looks like she's on the same planet with the walkers.
Yeah.
Like it looks like she's running across the same sand that the walkers were walking. Like the cracked.
We're actually going to see a lightsaber cut on Anat's foot off.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Finally, just make it work in the films.
It's interesting though how the background is dark, to go with the blue lightsaber, and then we get to the next scene and it's Kylo with his red lightsaber, and
you have the sun in the background.
The sun in the background.
You have that kind of J.J. Abrams style glare sort of thing.
There's a little bit of a sun flare, not much.
It's not as bad.
But I'm just saying, if you look, because we got both up right now, you see the contrast.
I think they did that on purpose to show the blue as being the light side, the red being the dark side. Yeah. Because also in the Kylo Ren scene, it looks like he's not in the same spot as Rey is. Like it doesn't look like he's in the same scene.
No.
It looks like it almost looks like it's the maybe the flashback scene. Although he has a scar.
Yeah.
So, but maybe it's a battle scene, a different battle scene.
But but the thing about that scar is, the other thing I was thinking, his scar should be a lot further over to the other side of his eye and up further than it is.
You think that's too mellow addition?
See, from what I remember in The Force Awakens, he gets slashed, but it's slashed from his shoulder up through his face this diagonally. So it should be up further and on the other side.
So you think that's actually hair and not a scar?
Yeah, it's possible. That's why,
and it could be a flashback from
the temple scene.
Yes, from when he's turned on the Order.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then, obviously, the next scene, speaking of the temple, is the destruction of the temple, which we saw from a different point of view or different angle in The Force Awakens. That's where Luke's holding R2, this guy's hand on R2, but we only see it from the different angle. We don't actually see the temple burning like we do. So it's like they took the camera and reversed it. That's my theory anyway. It's the same shot, just instead of being from the view we saw in The Force Awakens.
Same scene.
Yeah, same scene, just a completely different angle. We're seeing it from Luke. We're finally seeing what Luke is seeing. Why he dropped to his knees, and and you can see it looks like, I'd say there's some bunch of bodies laying before him. It looks like off in the hill in the distance. I'd say maybe covered in Jedi ropes even. I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, if nothing else, you do see just the great destruction that's kind of on the building itself and the landscape going towards it.
Yeah, fire, complete destruction, all junk, literally just debris everywhere.
Yeah.
So this next scene is kind of interesting. It's Phasma coming out of fire, and at first I thought maybe it was part of the same scene, and it could be maybe of the temple, but
another back thing where it shows her being part of the destruction of the temple.
Maybe it's hard to tell. It's awfully bright though. There's a lot of fire, a lot of smoke, a lot of ambers going on here, and some looks like a wreck of some kind.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, you do kind of hope they use the character better in the upcoming film than they did in the last one. So
I'd hope so, because the marketing they used for her and then when she actually did was pretty.
It was disproportional.
Yeah, very much so. Brian, anything you can see on this one?
No. I was looking at it. It kind of has the same feel as the Kylo Ren scene. So it may be part of that same battle.
Yeah,
that they're part of. it doesn't appear to me to be the Jedi Temple. It may just be like the hangar part of one of the ships that's being blown up or something. Like you said, looks like debris on the ground there,
Right.
and the ground is either really shiny or wet.
That's a good point. Yeah, I thought about that. That could be the hangar after the explosion. Yeah. Like she's the one that blew up his TIE fighter or his X-wing.
Yeah,
I'm bad for that today. So next scene. This is we're talking about this in our Rebels podcast just before about the Nebula Nebula class or Nebula -B, I believe, and there were some numbers before 37 or 34. We were talking about that in the Rebels series finale, and here we have what appears to be quite a few of though maybe
Rebel
Fleet, and maybe a slightly newer version of that particular ship, a shorter, stockier version, maybe. And there's quite a few of them, maybe creating some sort of a blockade in space or a defensive line of some kind. Maybe.
I mean, it's really a good scene. Like if you like the space scenes, and this is the space fighter scenes, this is pretty good. Yeah,
if there was one criticism of Force Awakens, even though I really love the fights on the ground, the air battles on the ground, there was not a lot of space battles. So looks like we're going to at least get one decent one from what we're seeing here.
And
looks like I've got an X-wing.
Do we always see the lasers be green?
The green lasers are indicative of TIE Fighter. At least that's the way it's supposed to be. Unless you look at the Rogue One cover and they got that screwed up. So, but yeah, green is from TIE Fighter. Usually red is usually from the Rebels. Usually.
Which is odd because it's vice versa for the Jedi versus Sith.
Yeah.
Like the Sith are red.
The Sith are red, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of I've never really thought about that before, but yeah. All right, so, and then finally get to the scene with, and this is the one where you hear Luke say, I only know one truth, and that is that the Jedi must end.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
And you have him standing in the cave doorway.
What looks to be on the island.
On the island again.
Well, I mean, most likely this is at the beginning of the film, too.
Yeah,
Like, it's him being like, I already made my attempt to, like, bring back the Jedi, and it's done.
And I'm hoping that's all it is. I really hope they don't go where Luke has decided to become a gray Jedi, and that's why, and that's the reason why the Jedi have to end.
Either that, or, I mean, it could be something where they just rename the class.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask.
Because, I mean, more or less that's what happened to the Sith. The Sith are gone, but we still have the First Order and Dark Users, and they're more or less the same, but they're called different things.
They're just not quite as powerful.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know what Snoke does.
Right.
And that's what I was going to ask you guys. If you thought, like, since Disney bought out, and they're trying to go away and expand the universe and get rid of basically anything Lucas created. They're expanding the universe to the point where they're introducing stuff that they can put in. Will they get rid of the Jedi and rename them
a different order?
Yes.
Like the Disney knots.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like something random that we don't know what it is, but something that they can expand on.
Yeah, you could definitely.
I think
it's. I mean, essentially what they do with the Sith in the First Order, so why not?
It's a fun idea to play around with, but as long as they play around with it, at the end of the day, if they get rid of it, I think it's a really stupid idea. I think
it's a poor use of, like, a loss of the term.
Yeah, Jedi is such a iconic term in pop culture outside of Star Wars. Now, I mean,
you don't think that was true for Sith though?
The Sith aren't as big. The Sith only came out after the prequels. Jedi has been around from the beginning.
Okay.
Well, but look at what they were before. They were the Knights of the Old Republic. They're not the Jedi of the Old Republic. So they changed from the Knights to the Jedi.
Oh, so you think it could be like a reverting back to the Knights?
Right. So do you, especially since you got the new book. You had that.
Well, that you also have, like, this is clearly taken more from Western mythology than some of the older films did as well. So
I don't
There's
know.
an argument for it, I suppose.
Maybe if you go with that whole European mythology.
I mean, at the same time, you'd still be calling them Jedi Knights.
They're still Jedi Knights to me, though. I'd have a problem with that, and like I said, I really don't want to end up with I don't want to go too deep into the Gray Jedi, where we end up with 50 Shades of Gray. 50 Shades of Gray Jedis, Well, he's really dark gray, and he's only kind of a lighter gray, so.
You don't want morality on the spectrum.
No, I do not.
You want it black and white.
I want the core beliefs to be black and white, and what the characters decide to do and how they interpret it. That's what makes it interesting.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's pretty much the trailer from beginning to end, kind of scene to scene. Guys, just real quick, final thoughts on the trailer and on the poster there, Brian.
I mean, I really like the poster. I like the retro look to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting that, like I said, like Luke's face is bigger than Kylo's. So, like, how is that going to play out? What I brought up about his face looking more angry than Kylo.
Right.
How is that going to play out? For me, this teaser trailer was very confusing. They threw a lot at us, and not a lot of in-depth.
Well, it's a teaser trailer.
Right, exactly. But I would have rather seen the teaser trailer be a complete scene. Not really a complete scene, but like we got with Chewie We're Home.
Right, you get that emotional attachment.
And you had something like that. I know they're trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the big critiques of Force Awakens, was that it was too much of an homage to A New Hope. But for me, there was just too much choppiness of this teaser trailer. I felt we could have done with maybe a couple less scenes, but extended the ones we did see a little bit more.
Okay, that's fair analysis. Aaron, what do you think?
I mean, it is a bit choppy, but it's also intentionally that way. Like, it's clearly meant to be somewhat misdirectional.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you have like certain scenes that are cut up and like put in different spots. You have things in different order than they probably are going to appear. And the funny thing is, I think a lot of what we're seeing in the teaser trailer probably is within like the first hour of the film.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You're probably not seeing a lot of the middle to half of this film.
That's pretty
Or
obvious.
latter half, anyway.
I mean, that's the way it was for Rogue One too. When they gave us everything they gave us from Rogue One was basically, well,
before reshoots.
I was to say
That's going to be the question, though, is like how much of this actually ends up in the film? Because with the Rogue One trailers, there was a good bit that didn't. Make
exactly.
the cut.
That's what I thought was
that
funny.
could be
Was
kind
like
of a funny.
they gave us a lot of stuff that was early in the movie, like early in the film, or not in the film at all.
Yeah. By the time we got to the finished product,
Yeah. So it's one of those things that's interesting, but I mean, you look at everything we see, like it's in very high definition. All the shots are really well done. Like everything's framed really well. It's visually very appealing, and I think in a way that I think it's a little better than Rogue One was, at least in terms of the trailer. So it's at least seems more interesting.
Okay.
Hopefully.
When it came to the poster, I like the poster. It is retro. I agree with that. The more I think about it, I think you guys are right there. It's something I really considered before, especially when you brought the VHS cover. I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely see that as a VHS cover. I liked it. I like how they put the symbol of the Jedi Order or whatever this symbol is on the book, which is very similar to the Jedi symbol. Actually, on the poster itself, through Rey holding a lightsaber, and then kind of using the glow effect or the sun sphere or whatever,
the sunburst,
sunburst effect with it. As far as the trailer goes, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting more from the trailer. Not to say that I didn't like the trailer, I did. I think this time around, instead of we all got the feels with Chewie, we're home. Feel. This time around, we got the gasp effect. It was it's time. I only know one truth, and it's time for the Jedi to end. You're like, Luke Skywalker just said the Jedi are to end. What? What the hell did I just hear?
At the same time, though, we have a lot of time before the film goes.
Sure,
just a little bit. Like pacing itself in terms of like what it's putting out there could be for the best. Because Rogue One probably put a little too much out there, even though it didn't explain the timeline thing real well.
Yeah. And you're right, Aaron. It is misdirectional. I mean, right from the get go, this trailer is misdirecting you. You think it's a starfield, and you think it's an asteroid, and then all of a sudden it's a damn rock. So right from the get go, you're getting a lot of misdirection. So it's just so it's hard to tell from a teaser trailer what the story is about. It's damn near impossible. Honestly, when we did the Force Awakens trailers, even after we watched all those trailers, it was still hard to figure out what the story was going to be totally about, right? We were still, it didn't give anything away, and I don't expect them to give anything away here either. So overall, yeah, I'll give both the posters and the trailer probably a solid B+, maybe an A-. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was worth it.
The only critique I have out of this, besides the choppiness,
yeah,
I was really disappointed we didn't see anything about Snoke.
He's not in it. He wasn't in any of the Force Awakens trailers either.
No, but
He didn't have a large part in Force Awakens either, though.
No,
but you think he would have a bigger role in this movie
because he's training Kylo.
Exactly, and I would like to have seen.
I wonder if we'll even see that now, though.
Well, it could be funny. You could have like dueling montages of them training their own students, and then they send them out to fight each other, and that's the film.
That would be pretty damn boring.
Because I've seen rumors that Snoke in this movie.
Yeah,
is actually wearing like a golden robe and
oh really?
And it's not the like cloak version that he is in the other one, because if you remember in the first time we see Maul in the hologram, he's wearing a dark cloak,
right? But
then he's not wearing
right. Well, yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know. I like your theory, Brian, of the twist being that Skywalker has, Luke has, because of watching his, a temple destroyed, that he has fallen away from the light side of the Force. Is an interesting theory. If nothing else, that would be a hell of a twist.
Really, I just think they're going to kill him off.
That would be the easy thing to do, but after Carrie Fisher's death, I don't know if it's a good idea.
Oh, that way you have one original character.
You got one left. Yeah,
and they did say that Carrie's role was finished with this movie. It wasn't. She was not expected to be in the next movie. So So apparently her character is wrapped up in this one. So maybe she dies in this one.
It's possible.
And not, and what I mean? Because originally the way it was shaping up, it almost felt like she would be in the last movie as well, with as big a role as she was.
Yeah,
but yeah, they did confirm that.
Sure,
she's not going to be in the last movie. I mean, regardless of CGI or anything, she's not in the last movie.
Yeah, if in fact if she hadn't passed away, I would have said. If you would have asked me if it's Luke Skywalker and die in this one, I would have probably said 90% yes. Because you have to have somebody left to mourn Luke Skywalker, from the original big three. So, yeah,
Could be Chewbacca, but he probably wouldn't care that much.
Yeah. But anyway. All right, guys. Well, we're a good 40 minutes in here, but it's been a good review. It's a good laid-back podcast. I like that. We just were able to sit back, speculate, and have a good time with it. And we hope you guys enjoyed it, and look for a lot more to come. I know, we'll be getting together next week, and we still have Star Wars Rebels panel coming later today. So there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about coming down the pike as far as Star Wars is concerned. So definitely stay with us. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And Aaron, as always, thank you, sir. All right, and this is B. Willie saying, may the Force be with you.